And this is the Straight Right Hand Boxing Show. No, folks, it's still the Left Hook Boxing Show, but the left hook was suspiciously absent in the fights last night. Didn't do the damage that it typically does, but at least in the Arthur Abraham, Jermaine Taylor fight, the straight right hand was the punch of the evening. And how often do you see that when a fighter, Taylor had his defenses up, and how often do you see a fighter come in and throw a punch, a straight right hand that goes through the defenses, connects right on the button, and puts the fighter unconscious, just like that. Now, Abraham was going ahead and throwing the combination. He threw the straight right hand, and he was following up with a left hook, but the left hook hit nothing but air, just made a swish in the wind, because that right hand put Jermaine Taylor unconscious and gave Arthur Abraham the victory on this night. And as I'm watching this fight, you know, several people, this is the first full fight I've seen Arthur Abraham fight. I've seen, you know, a couple of devastating blows that he's given on YouTube, but this first full fight that I'm watching, and several commentators have made the prediction that Arthur Abraham is going to win this tournament. And I'm watching this, and the early part of the fight, I'm like, man, I don't see what the big deal with this guy is. He was, you know, had his defenses up, very good defenses, but he, to me, just did not seem active enough. But here's the deal, man. When you have that cannon, this reminded me of like Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood. This guy pulls out the .44 Magnum and kaboom! Lays it. When he needs to get the punch, he can get it. And when you have that kind of power, you can bide your time. It's just like you got that ace in the hole, and you know you can pull it out. And he waited, he bided his time until Taylor was a little worn down, tired, and he had a good strategy, and he pulled it out and scored the knockout. Now, even if it wouldn't have been the knockout, Abraham did enough damage to, you know, he was ahead on the scorecards, would have won the fight. But that knockout was something, and tell me that the other people watching that fight, you saw Kessler kind of like, whoa, man. And you know that fighters, when they know they're going up against a man that has that kind of knockout power, they're going to change their strategy just a little bit because they don't want to get caught. And you can almost sense that from Taylor. He was constantly using the jab, staying the distance, pecking at the jab, wasn't doing a whole lot of damage. And he went in there and threw a few flurries, made some connects, fought a decent fight. But he just seems to fade in the later rounds, and I'm a little worried about Taylor. Some people suggested that he step out of the tournament. I don't know about that, but I am worried about him. I hope he makes it through the tournament, gets some good paydays, and then calls it quits, because I think he's just been through too many wars, and he's risking getting hurt. Now, on to the Froch Dirrell fight. I was on the edge of my seat for this fight, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't the entertaining fight that I'd hoped for. I wish we would have had CompuBox, because I guess Showtime doesn't use that, but I think CompuBox would have told an interesting story. I think Dirrell connected more. I think he threw more punches, and he was fast. But I think that I don't have a problem with the decision. I mean, I kind of thought Dirrell won, but I wasn't real upset that he didn't get the decision, because, kind of like Froch said, you know, Dirrell, he ran too much, and he clutched too much. And I think the person that's going to win this tournament is not going to get away with fighting that kind of fight. He's got to stand in there and fight. And Dirrell did that for a lot of the fight, but those rounds where he was clutching too much and he was running, I think that really cost him with the judges and cost him this fight. And I think if he would have stood in there with Froch, he's faster than Froch, I think he would have been able to avoid Froch's blows to enough extent that he could have won the fight. And he has that lightning speed that he could have connected with some punches. And he did connect. He hurt Froch in one of the rounds, one particular round. So I think if he would have stood in there, he would have given himself a very good opportunity to win this fight. But when he went into that run, he was almost trying to show, seemed like he was trying to show people that Froch couldn't catch him and couldn't hit him. But I think that worked against him, because when you're circling the round like that, there's nothing wrong with moving, adjusting, but then get back in there and fight, and don't always be clutching. And the times that he did that, I think it really cost him. And I thought it was really telling in the interview afterwards when Froch was talking with Jim Gray, that, you know, Gray was asking about the fouls and about hitting in the back of the head, and he said, Froch said, hey, if that's all he gives me, I'm going to hit it. I'm not going to sit there and, because he's got his head bent over, and not hit him, because if I do that, once he raises up and he hits me, then I'm in trouble. And he even said that he got buzzed a couple times by Dirrell. But, you know, I think that is really what cost Dirrell in this fight. You know, Froch, he didn't like this fight, doesn't like fighting a fighter like that. He's looking forward to the next fight when he fights Kessler, and he knows Kessler's going to come in there and fight. That's the kind of style that Froch likes. But, like I say, I'm not upset with the decision. It's just a tough fight to gauge, tough fight to judge, because they didn't stand enough in there and duke it out. And who's to say who would have won if they did? And I think Dirrell will consider a little bit different strategy when he goes forward, because, like I say, the people want to see warriors in the ring, and I think the winner of this tournament is going to be a warrior. It's not going to be a boxer that jukes around the ring and hits jabs and lays a few combinations here and there and scores, outpoints somebody. The winner of this tournament is going to be a knockout king, and I think that's why people have Abraham favored here. But who knows who's going to win this thing? But interesting start to the competition. Not great fights, but I think we've got a few great ones coming up, and I look forward to them. And for now, this is Renegade Rousey, and I'm out.